Welcome class. Today we will study the water quality parameters. In water quality parameters, we would be taking up the physical characteristics, then we would be taking the chemical characteristics and then the biological characteristics. Physical characteristics include turbidity, color, taste and odor, temperature, and specific conductivity of water. Now, what is turbidity? In a very simple language, I'd like to explain. Take a glass of water, dissolve some mud to it. You will have difficulty in seeing through that water. Another example. आज स्विमिंग पूल का वाटर चेंज हुआ है and you dive in and you can see at a long distance, but then the same water after 5 days the visibility becomes limited because the water has become turbid. So the turbidity means the water gets turbid when the passage of light is being obstructed, and the standard unit is that which is produced by 1 milligram of finely divided silica in 1 liter of distilled water. The common units are NTU, JTU, and the experiment to perform this is very simple. There is a simple instrument and you take the water sample whose turbidity is to be measured. The light passes through it and the point till which the light can be seen, that point is being noted. And again, the same test is repeated with the distilled water, with the pure water, potable water. And by that, we can always compare the turbidity of the water. Now comes the color. Color is definitely very objectionable. If I give you a glass of a colored water and ask you to drink it, no one would drink it. Because what we know is that water is tasteless, colorless, and odorless. Pure water doesn't have any color. So color is no doubt very objectionable. The standard unit of color is that which is produced by 1 milligram of platinum cobalt dissolved in 1 liter of water. Actually, how do we measure the color intensity? It is measured by the different Nessler tubes. Now, what are Nessler tubes? The standard unit of color is that which is produced by 1 milligram of platinum cobalt dissolved in 1 liter of water. That is 1 milligram per liter, right? If you dissolve 2 milligram, then it would be 2 units. 3 milligrams, it would be 3. Likewise, we number the different shades of the color, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. These different samples which are being prepared by dissolving different amount of platinum and cobalt in 1 liter of water gives you the different shades of the color, and these are known as Nessler tubes. Now, whatever standard water is there, or the water sample which the color intensity of color is to be measured, you compare the color, water sample color, the color of the water sample with the standard Nessler tubes. Whichever color matches gives you the color intensity. Now comes the taste and odors. Definitely water is tasteless and odorless. If there is an odor in it, then how do you dilute it. For example, how will you measure the odor intensity? Suppose you've got 40 ml of water which has some sort of odor in it. You add pure water to it, keep on adding it till the odor vanishes. Now suppose the 40 ml to 40 ml of the water sample, you added water and now the water content was 200 ml and the odor has vanished, which you can always feel it. So the odor intensity would be 5, 200 by 40, right? Temperature. Now temperature is an important factor. If I give you a water at say even 50 degrees centigrade, it will be difficult to drink. 100 degrees is the boiling point of water, so you definitely can't have it. 0 degree water is very cold, and below that it freezes. So the temperature of water should be such which is good enough to drink. लोग कहते हैं ना कि पानी ऐसा था कि पिया तो it quenched my thirst. Ideally, the temperature of water should be between 10 to 25 degrees centigrade, right? Now, what about the specific conductivity of water? This is important because normally we say that pure water is a bad conductor of electricity, but sometimes it does conduct due to the presence of ions. Now, it also shows that there are some ions, metallic ions present in the water, and yes, we do have dissolved solids also. So the water, the conductivity of water is being measured by the instrument, and whatever the reading comes, it is multiplied by 0.67. This will give you the dissolved solids in milligram per liter, right? So these are the physical characteristics: turbidity, color, taste and odor, temperature, and specific conductivity of water. Now comes the chemical characteristics. Chemical characteristics include total solids, suspended solids, pH of water, hardness of water, chloride content, nitrogen content, right? These are the important chemical parameters by which the purity of water is to be, potability of water is ascertained. Total solids and suspended solids. We also have a term dissolved solids, right? Now you take a water sample, you filter that water sample through a filter paper. Suspended solids will be stored by the filter media and the rest of the water passes through, right? Then the water which is passed through the filter media is evaporated, and whatever residue is left over is the dissolved solids, right? So you got the weight of the dissolved solids. Now suspended solids. The weight of the filter paper is say A grams, A milligrams. Now after passing the water through it, the weight definitely will increase because the suspended solids will get attached to it. Now the weight of the filter paper is B. So the suspended solids would be B minus A. And the dissolved solids plus suspended solids will give you the value of total solids. Total solids, the permissible limits is up to 500 milligrams per liter. However, it may go up to 1000 milligrams per liter also, but the desirable limit is 500 milligrams per liter. pH value of water. Now we know that pH value of 7 means neutral. Less than 7 means it is acidic, and greater than 7 means it's basic. You cannot drink acidic water, you cannot drink a heavy alkaline water also. It is basically the hydrogen ion concentration, and the desirable value of pH of water should be between 6.5 to 8.5. Right. Then comes the hardness of water. Now, what is hardness? In very simple language. Sometimes you say that I washed my hand with soap, but the foam was not there. So it is just because of the hard water. Hard water does not form lather with soap. Now, what thing contributes to the hardness of water? Hardness of water is being contributed by various dissolved things like carbonates and bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. Actually, there are two types of hardness: carbonate hardness and non-carbonate hardness. Carbonate hardness is contributed by carbonates and bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. Non-carbonate hardness is being contributed by chlorides and sulfates of calcium and magnesium. Carbonate hardness can be removed by boiling also. Very simple procedure. Non-carbonate hardness needs to be removed by certain processes. We will deal with the hardness part in detail in our unit, in our module, where we will talk about treatment of water, making it portable to the common public. Then comes the chloride content. Chloride content is generally due to the dissolved salts like sodium chloride in water. Too much of chloride content is not desirable. You cannot drink sea water or ocean water because it has a lot of chloride content in it, right? Then comes the nitrogen content, which is very, very important. Now, nitrogen content is important because it is in the form of free ammonia or ammonia nitrogen, albuminide or organic nitrogen, nitrites or nitrates. It is important because whenever a waste is discharged into a river body, then these are the stages which the waste will go through. Free ammonia or ammonia nitrogen indicates the first stage of pollution. That means it is the very recent stage of pollution. Like the pollution has just started. Organic nitrogen indicates quantity of nitrogen present in the water in form of undecomposed organic matter. Right? Nitrites indicates partially decomposed organic matter. This is very dangerous. This particular, if the presence of, if you test a water sample and you find out that the presence of nitrites, then that water is highly dangerous and is definitely not fit for drinking purposes. Nitrates indicates the fully oxidized organic matter, and it represents the old pollution. Okay. You will Hear a lot about the nitrogen content and these four parts during the wastewater treatment, a subject which you will study in the next semester, right? This one important term, Geldal nitrogen, it is the ammonia nitrogen plus the organic nitrogen, right? Sometimes in competitive exams also it is asked to calculate the Geldal nitrogen, wherein you are required to find out the ammonia nitrogen first and organic nitrogen. Then you add these two parts and you get the Geldal nitrogen, right? So this is important. Now we come to the bacterial and microscopial characteristics. First of all, let me give you a brief idea about the bacterial and microscopial characteristics. There are several waterborne diseases and typhoid is one of them. You know it. It is caused by drinking impure water. Bacteria are basically two types. First is non-pathogens and the second ones are pathogens. Non-pathogens means they do not cause any disease. They are not harmful. Pathogens means they are harmful and they will transmit and make you sick. Like in case of typhoid. During rainy season, you generally hear that waterborne diseases are very prevalent because due to the stagnant water, because it becomes the breeding place for the bacteria, right? We also have distinguished the bacteria depending upon the oxygen necessities, right? We have aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria, and facultative bacteria. Aerobic bacteria means which survive in presence of oxygen. Anaerobic bacteria means which do not need oxygen for its survival. And facultative bacteria means which thrive in or without the presence of oxygen. Now, these bacteria are the source of diseases, and we have a count, MPN count, which tells you the growth of bacteria, most probable number. It has got a simple test and it is a two-step test which will clear the presence of pathogens. First is the preliminary test and the second one is the confirmatory test for the presence of the pathogens, right? So we today have dealt with the water quality parameters in module 1. The water quality parameters included the physical characteristics, turbidity, color, taste, odor, temperature, and specific conductivity of water. Chemical characteristics included the total solids, suspended solids, and you can also say that total solids minus suspended solids are the dissolved solids. The pH value of water, hardness of water, chloride content, nitrogen content. Nitrogen content included free ammonia or ammonia nitrogen, albuminoid or organic nitrogen, nitrites and nitrates. There was a word for Geldal nitrogen also, which is the ammonia nitrogen plus the organic nitrogen. Then the bacterial and microscopial characteristics, pathogens and non-pathogens. Basically, pathogens are the disease-causing ones, non-pathogens are not. And depending upon the oxygen necessities, it's the aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria, and facultative bacteria. Right, class? So this was about the water quality and the test to ensure the quality of the water. We've got guidelines, parameters to ensure that whether the water is potable or not. In the next class, we would study about the collection of water sample for laboratory examination. Then we would talk about the waterborne diseases. Then we would talk about the preventive measures. And in the end, we will also like to talk upon the permissible limits for the various water quality parameters. I hope you have understood what's being taught today and saved. I would again request to go through and just revise what's being taught today, and we'll meet in the next class, right? So thank you, class.